Good. We lost you there for a second. Right. Good. It says recording, so.
Yeah. Oh, sweet. You're recording it too. Sweet. Sweet. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the official podcast of the Fleming Film Awards. I do apologise. I did have the first episode planned to be Babylon with Justin, but Justin had a very busy schedule. Luckily, we decided to do what was planned to be the second episode because luckily my special guest was available to do this one. Today we are talking about Spider-Man Into the Spiderverse, and here with me to talk about this movie is Josh Hickey. Hello, Josh.
Hey, I get to be the first guest. It's awesome.
Yeah, to be the first guest on the show, and what a movie we're going to be talking about today. Lovely, lovely. So I've told you before, Josh, this has won 3 of my Fleming Awards: Best Film, Best Animated Film, and Best Voice Acting. Nicolas Cage was the winner. How do you feel about the 3 wins?
Yeah, I think it deserves it. I mean, it beat Disney at 2018 for the Oscars. It beat Wreck-It Ralph and Incredibles too, which is good because both of those movies are kind of lazy. So I think it highly deserved it. There was a lot more passion put into it than a lot of the other animated films that came out in 2018. So
yeah, I'd say second of animated films of 2018 has to be Isle of Dogs.
Yeah, that was a good one too. Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
It's funny because Wes Anderson has a new movie coming out in a couple of months, Asteroid City. So
yes, I can't wait for that one. Yes, so out of all the voice acting stuff, do you feel like Nicolas Cage is the strongest?
And yeah, but John Mulaney was pretty good too. Spider-Ham.
Oh, John Mulaney as Spider-Ham was also brilliant as well.
Yeah.
Did you see the short film that comes with the Blu-ray?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, that's a laugh.
Yeah, that was so good. Because
Yeah.
they basically just did a Looney Tunes cartoon, but made it Spider-Man. That was awesome.
Yeah, that's what I liked about it. I liked its little like Looney Tunes aspect to it, and the fact that he got to shine more as a character. And going into this new movie coming out soon, this is why we're talking about this movie. It's a shame that they're not bringing back the characters from the first movie.
Well, not necessarily, because this is part 1. It was marketed as Across the Spider-Verse Part 1. And from what I've heard, this is going to be like The Empire Strikes Back or something like that, where it's going to end on a cliffhanger ending. So I think we may end up seeing a lot of the returning characters come back for Part 2. I think Part 1 is going to be establishing the stakes of this one, yeah.
Okay. Do you think it'll be a bit of cliffhanger than Fast 10?
Oh, absolutely, because people might actually, because I don't know. Because at least with Fast 10, you saw my complaints with that one, right?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. We know Vin Diesel, spoiler alert if you haven't seen Fast 10, we know Vin Diesel is not going to stay dead.
No, he's got to pay the bills.
Yeah, and even when characters die in this franchise, they come back anyway. I mean, 30 seconds later, they reveal like Gal Gadot is still alive, even though she died 3 movies ago. So, but Peter Parker already died in the original Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
So I don't necessarily think someone may die necessarily, but I think maybe the villain will succeed in his plan. It'll be like Infinity War where Thanos wins, or it'll be like Empire Strikes Back where Darth Vader wins, or Goblet of Fire, right? Voldemort finally wins. So it'll be a lot like that. I think that'll be what are we going to do now? And then that'll transition into part 2/part 3 of this trilogy. So
Definitely. Do you see why it was my favorite film of 2018?
Yeah. I mean, the only reason it was number 2, because mine was Infinity War, and the only reason for that is because Infinity War had a lot more hype around it, because that was, 20-something films of build-up, whereas Spider-Verse, it was just the one movie. Like, yes, it has other characters, but it probably would have been number 1 if they had done the same thing the MCU did, where every character got a movie. Like, we've had a Peter B. Parker movie, if we'd had a Spider-Ham movie, and then this would have been like the Miles Morales movie / the Team Up movie at the same time, it probably would have been number 1.
Yeah.
But because they had to spend so much time introducing all the other characters, I think maybe we didn't get to know them as much as we did with the MCU, where we were already familiar with them because we've known them for 10 years.
Yeah. I do like one of the jokes, and they're introducing the other 3, and they say, "All right, that's enough."
Yeah.
Yeah, that was always a good shout. Before we dive into these, the whole movie, do you have anything else to say about the awards it's won?
Well, like I said, I think it deserves it. I don't know what other awards it won besides Best Animated Film.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Which again, we already said highly deserved.
Yeah, but do you think it deserved the awards I gave it?
Oh, absolutely. And I think this makes up because we're all mad that Lego Movie did not win. in 2014. It wasn't even nominated, for goodness sakes. I don't know how it was not nominated.
Is it because of that live action scene?
I don't know, because Wall-E was nominated in 2008 and there's live action in it. So
yeah,
I don't know what the reason for that was. And I mean, Big Hero 6 is a good movie. Big Hero 6 is the one that ended up winning, but Lego Movie was so much funnier and so much more clever. So I think because these aren't the same people that did that movie, that it does highly deserve to win, because it's funny that they lost to Disney and they beat Disney. Also, same thing with Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. Also, same people that did this, and it wasn't even nominated at all.
That's actually
in 2009. Granted, there were a lot of fantastic movies in 2009. I fully agree that every movie nominated in 2009 highly deserved that nomination, because we had Fantastic Mr. Fox, Coraline, Up, Secret of Kells. Those were all highly deserved at the nominations. I was just sad that Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs wasn't included in there. So, and then even with Encanto, that deserved to win 2021's Oscar as well. But I'm glad Mitchell's vs. Machines was at least nominated. So Lord and Miller are actually getting more traction with their awards, even if they don't always win. But it's nice to see that they are showing that animation medium that deserves to be talked about. So
nice. Into Spiderverse at the Oscars beat Incredibles 2 Isle of Dogs.
Yeah.
Mirali and Ralph Breaks the Internet. I've seen 4 out of the 5. I've not seen Mirai.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is I think it's not fair, because a lot of reasons movies that deserve to be nominated aren't just because they put foreign movies in the categories. I don't know if that's because just America doesn't put out a lot of good animated films or what. But I'm like, but it's weird, because every other category, there's like a separate category for the foreign. You have short film, and then you have foreign short film. You have documentary, then you have foreign documentary. Yeah. Why not do the same thing with animated film? Here's all the ones for the American animated films, and now here's everyone else. That seems a little bit more logical, because that way you get to express a lot more animation films that come overseas that deserve to get nominated as well, and we're not filling slots.
Definitely, because I like this one from France called Persepolis.
That was nominated in 2007, but it lost to Ratatouille. But I mean, Ratatouille was fantastic. I just watched that movie yesterday, because we're doing the prep for Elemental coming out in a couple weeks. So
brilliant! That's our next episode. I'm going to be doing that with Cody, because the director of Elementals is the voice of Remy's brother.
Yeah, and he also directed The Good Dinosaur, though. So
we'll
see how that one turns out. Yikes!
Yeah, I think Elementals looks better animated and looks like a better plot.
Well, the animation looks great, but then the plot, I'm like, this is just Romeo and Juliet again. So, like, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, but Romeo and Juliet meet Zootropolis.
Yeah, Zootopia. That's what we call it over here. But yeah.
Yeah. So, let's talk about Miles Morales, because I really like him as a character.
Yeah, so for those who don't know, so Miles Morales was introduced in the comics. He's a fairly recent character compared to the rest of the Marvel characters that have been in movies. So, Iron Man, he's been around since, the 60s. Spider-Man, Peter Parker's been around since the 60s. Captain America Sports. Miles Morales was introduced in, like, the late zeros. So, like, maybe around, like, 2008, 2009, somewhere around there. And it was interesting. So for those who don't know, Marvel has the main line, which is the 616 line, which is all the main timeline. Then around the time that the Sam Raimi movie was coming out, they did Ultimate Spider-Man. Now, Ultimate Spider-Man, that's where the Sam Raimi movie takes a lot of influence from those comics, because in Amazing Spider-Man, his origin story was not, I'm going to go try and win money by doing a wrestling match. That was taken from the Ultimate Spider-Man. So that line has been around since like early 2000s. Well, it was around like early 2009 or somewhere around there that they made the very shocking decision to kill off Peter Parker. And he dies at the hands of the Green Goblin. And he was replaced by Miles Morales, the newcomer Miles Morales. So that's sort of his origin and how that stems from the comics, is he was made as sort of a replacement for Peter in the Ultimate line. But in the main comics line, Peter Parker is still Spider-Man. They did not kill off Peter in the main line. So that's sort of where he comes from. It's from Ultimate Spider-Man. So it's cool that, he's been around since like 2009. So less than 10 years later, he gets his own movie. So that's pretty cool, because how many other characters took forever for them? And Black Widow, her movie didn't come out until 2021. Even COVID aside, it was supposed to come out in 2020. But I mean, and that was after being in the MCU for 10 years. So that's a fairly short gap of time between being introduced in the comics and then getting your own movies. That's pretty cool.
Yes, I've also heard he's modelled after Donald Glover, and Donald Glover voices him in the cartoon.
On the cartoon, yeah. Isn't he also plays in Homecoming? He plays his uncle, who is the
Yes,
Prowler
he
in this
is.
movie. But he plays the live action version of that character in Homecoming. He says, "I have a nephew that lives here." So that was a sort of reference to Miles. So we might be seeing him in the MCU at some point.
Yes, yes. I've always wanted to see Donald Glover as the Prowler since I watched
Yeah.
this movie. Do you think who do you think's better as Aaron Davis, Mahershala Ali doing the voice or Donald Glover live action?
Well, I mean, we didn't get to see Donald Glover. I don't think it's a fair comparison because we don't actually see him as the Prowler. We just see him as some random dude that Spider-Man is interrogating so he can go after Vulture. Whereas we
Yeah,
actually get to see the Prowler in all his fearsomeness in the movie. So I don't think it's a fair assessment because he hasn't gotten a chance to be the Prowler yet. So when and if they make him the Prowler in live action, I think then we can compare.
definitely, definitely. That will be something we'll go back to and compare once
Yeah.
that comes out. I think Shami Moore did a brilliant job.
Yeah. It's kind of cool that wasn't who's the dude from Alita that was supposed to play Blade soon?
Oh, Mahershala Ali.
Yeah, wasn't he in this movie too?
Yes, he plays. He voices Aaron Davis.
I thought so. Yeah,
Prowler.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So that's cool.
yeah. Chris Pine and Jake Johnson play two different Peter Parkers.
Yeah, kind of funny that now. Yes, it's funny how Sony was like, "Oh, Chris Pine is the only Chris that hasn't been in a Marvel movie. We're gonna make him star in our movie and not the MCU because you have Chris Hemsworth, Chris Evans, and anyway." Basically, but you don't have Chris Pine. That's the only one. Oh, Chris Pratt. Sorry, you have Chris Pratt, Chris Evans, and Chris Hemsworth, but you don't have Chris Pine. We're gonna take Chris Pine, and then we're gonna kill him off. 20 minutes into the movie. Okay, it's kind
Yes.
of cool though. Although he is doing another voice role in Disney's new movie that's coming out in November called Wish. And it
Yes.
seems he's gonna be playing the villain in that one. It looks like that's
Ooh.
cool. Yeah, it looks like he's gonna be playing some sort of evil fairy tale king, and I really hope that this time around he's an actual villain and it's not a misunderstood villain ends up being good at the end like they're doing with some. I want an actual villain reminiscent of the classic ones from their classic animated films like Scar or Snow White or Tangled, not the gray area. I want an actual villain. So hopefully he gets, and he seems like he's going to have fun with that
The
role, especially because,
last good
yeah,
twist villain was in Coco.
yeah, that was really good. But I mean, that's Pixar though. I'm talking about like actual like Disney Hans from Frozen. We want like an actual like villain that you're supposed to hate, not gray area villain. So hopefully we get that. It's
It
kind of
made
fun.
more sense in Zootopia.
Yeah, but I'm hoping that we get that. And also because he was in Dungeons and Dragons a couple months ago, so this is gonna be he's
Yes.
having a good year between this and
He's
Wish. He's
having a
having a really
great
good
year.
year.
He's having a great year. He's having
Yeah.
a great year. So who's your favourite out of the voice cast?
Well, there's a John Mulaney
Yes,
as for
yes.
him.
Spider Pig is my favourite
I found that funny
voice
because
for stuff.
he plays the villain in Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. And there's a
He's
line he says
phenomenal.
to the Jiminy Cricket like Jiminy Cricket parody. He's like, "I hate talking animals," and yet he says this in the same year that Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers came out, where he plays a talking animal, and of course he's also Spider-Man. So I just find that super funny.
It is kind of funny in a way.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's doing really well in these voice roles. I'm gonna be honest with you, Josh. I'm not a fan of Big Mouth.
Yeah, I haven't seen that because it's super super vulgar. So
It is super vulgar.
it's TV made for a very good
That's
reason.
what put
So
me off. That's what put me off it.
yeah,
It just got to the point where it was just being too vulgar for the sake of it.
yeah. So I haven't seen a single episode of that show, and I never plan to. So
Oh, you're not missing anything.
never, yeah, no.
You're not missing anything. I think Penny Parker is a good character as well.
Yeah, that was cool. They sort of gave her like an anime influence style. I wish we had seen more of her as well. There were a few characters like they were good, but and again, it was very much Miles' story. But I think this is the advantage of it being a two-part movie with this next sequel. Is I think we will get more time to spend with all these other characters that are coming in. Because
Yeah,
I think they did realize people love the other side characters we did. People love Penny Parker. People love Spider Gwen. They love Spider Ham. We didn't get a lot of time to explore those characters, and I think there was a little more that could have been developed. So let's just do the next two sequels as this very long 2-part story so that we have more time to expand with all these other new characters that we're introducing and maybe bring back some old ones and spend more time with them.
Definitely. And who else was I say? Oh, Catwoman is in this movie as well.
Which one?
Zoe Kravitz.
Oh yeah. Wait, who does she play in this one? I forget now.
She plays Mary Jane.
What? Oh wow, I never realized that.
Yeah.
Yes, that's kind of cool.
Yeah. I do think she's better than Batman.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, to be fair, she had a bigger role in Batman, so.
Yeah, definitely. But I thought what a really good twist in this film was Olivia Octavius.
Yeah, that was good. And it's funny because you know how there's a funny Easter egg that I didn't notice until the first couple times I watched it, where Peter Parker said was like, "Oh, Olivia Octavius, I take it your friends call you Doc Ock." It's like, no, my friends actually call me Liv. My enemies call me Doc Ock. Later on, when she's invading their house, May says, "Oh, great, it's Liv." That means that they were probably friends at some point. So I want to see maybe how that happened.
Yes. And we also get the Kingpin.
Yeah, well, we got the Kingpin in the first movie.
Oh yes, we got the Kingpin in this movie.
He was the main villain. Yeah.
Yes.
It's fun. He's played by I forget his name. He played Sabretooth in the X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Yeah, Levi Schreiber.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's also a voice in Isle of Dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he was quite lucky to be in 2 of these best animated films.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah. I love the animation style the most out of this movie because it doesn't feel like a typical generic CGI movie, just like you normally. They actually take their time to put.
It feels like a comic book, and that was one of the complaints that I've seen some people have when this movie came out was the frame rate was weird because they weren't used to it because it looks like it's a motion comic, and I've got like the little. If you were to take a magnifying glass and put it on a comic book, you would see little colored dots on everything. They basically made that. So you're seeing that. I saw that a lot of people had a hard time watching it on their TVs because the frame rate looked weird. So, but they looked great in the theater though. So yeah, and I'm fine. I haven't noticed anything off about it. I think it's probably just somebody's TV settings. But I do love that everyone has a different animation style. Like I said with Penny Parker, it's very anime influenced, and Spider-Ham is of course Looney Tunes. So there's little Easter eggs every once in a while in the background as well that very much look like. I mean, sort of like classic just comic. Like if we're gonna compare, it's the Adam West Batman, where every time it just goes pow, bat. Like it had that too. That was really fun.
Yes. Speaking of MCU actors, one of the Eternals plays Miles' dad.
Okay. Oh yeah, he does, huh?
I talk about how he was in Atlanta, Donald Glover's show. Yeah, that's where I first know him from, and seeing him in Atlanta and then seeing him in all these movies, it really shows how gifted of an actor he is. Like he's not just the funny man; he can do dramatic.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean we got to see both in this from him, his both funny side and his dramatic side.
Exactly. The funny side being like you need to say hi back. You need to say I love you back. I'm not gonna let you go to say I love you back. And then later on, it was when he's apologizing to Miles, telling him you're gonna do great things. Like there was such great voice acting and stuff for everybody.
Definitely,
it was such an emotional movie as well.
Another MCU actor that appears in this is one of my favorite actresses working at the moment, Haley Steinfeld.
It was definitely Though this is pre-MCU, this is pre-Hawkeye. But even then, she'd been in other stuff. The first thing I remember seeing her in was Ender's Game.
Ender's Game, I've never seen that one. The first thing I saw her in was True Grit.
Oh, I think you like it. So have you read the book of Ender's Game?
No, I haven't actually.
Oh, okay, so read it. Okay, so the book's brilliant. Read the book first. The book is brilliant, but I think you like Ender's Game because it has Harrison Ford in it as well.
Yeah.
And this was pre Force Awakens. This was just a couple years before they announced they were doing another. It's like, oh, this might be the last time we get to see Harrison Ford as some sort of Han Solo type character. Yeah, it's brilliant. So yeah, the first thing I saw in was Ender's Game, and then of course later on she was in Hawkeye, and also Bumblebee.
Bumblebee's brilliant.
Which came out literally 2 weeks after this movie did, so at least here. So
Yeah, I enjoyed Bumblebee a lot.
yeah, I can't wait to go back and watch it again in just a couple weeks because we got a new Transformers movie coming out soon. So
yes, I'm planning to rewatch that from the Transformers film. Yes, from the Transformers film. Do you like the soundtrack? Because I like the soundtrack a lot in this.
for Spiderverse, yeah. I mean, I'm not really like a big hip hop or rap guy, so when I first saw the soundtrack, like, okay, the soundtrack on its own, before I saw the movie, I was like, I like some of this, not bad with it. But when I saw the movie and saw the context of how it was used in the movie, I went, okay, yeah, this is fantastic.
Yes, my favourite song in this is Sunflower.
I like the What's Up Danger one just because that is such a powerful scene because it's where
Yeah.
Miles finally figures out how to be Spider-Man, and that's the big I'm gonna go rescue everybody mission. Like that is probably the most powerful scene in the movie. Honestly, it's so good.
Yeah. Yeah, it is a very powerful scene.
Yeah.
That is a very powerful scene.
Yeah. Especially because it's at the beginning when the Stan Lee cameo where he says the suit always fits eventually, but when you first see him looking at all the different Spider-Man suits, it doesn't quite fit in the reflection. But during that scene, it finally lines up with his reflections because now the suit fits. Now he knows what he has to do to be Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So, little great animated moments like that too.
Definitely. Going back to Wes Anderson, some of the shots in this feel very Wes Anderson, because they are quite symmetrical.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
Yeah. Is there anything else you love about this movie?
But it's the whole dynamic between all the characters. They're all fantastic, which can be bad, which can be good or bad. Because if you have an ensemble cast, a lot of characters, sometimes you have one or two that I'm like, I'm not sure I'm vibing with this character. I like this character more, but no, all these characters are great, and I can't wait to see more of them. Especially because at the end with the Spider-Man 2099, he's being played by Oscar Isaac in this new one, who may or may not be the villain based on the trailers. That'll be fun.
I have a feeling he's going to be the villain based on the trailers.
It makes sense because his backstory is very dark in the comics. So
yeah, I can picture that.
Yeah.
I can picture that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Oscar Isaac and a couple of new actors like Daniel Kaluuya and Jason Schwartzman are going to be in the new one as well.
Yeah. And also going back to the John Mulaney thing, Andy Samberg is also going to be in the movie.
Yes, I saw that.
Well. And I was like, oh, I wonder if they'll bring back John Mulaney as Spider-Ham because then we can just have a reunion of the Chip and Dale movie.
Yes. See, I like the Chip and Dale movie. I want them to do a film like that, but with Mickey, Donald, and Goofy.
That would be great.
Yeah, they're dead, and it's about them trying to get their careers back in modern Hollywood.
That would be awesome.
Yeah. I was thinking about Tarantino's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and I was like, this would work well with Mickey, Donald, and Goofy without the over-top violence.
It would, yes. They need to do that.
Definitely. Do you have any flaws with this movie?
No, not really. It's one of the most perfect. I mean, I can't think of anything that I was like, this would have been ever. No, it's fantastic.
Because one of the main flaws I hear about is that his like lifelong friend he says goodbye to he only knows for a whole day. That's one of the only like nitpicks I've ever heard about the whole movie.
That's kind of a dumb nitpick.
Here's a bit of a dumb nitpick.
There are no problems. There are no problems with this movie.
Not only that, but there are other movies with them like making friends for a day and then they part.
Yeah, and the only reason it's second place on my Spider-Man rankings usually is just because No Way Home had again a lot more of that hype to it. Because it had a lot more nostalgia factor to it. But whereas Spider-Verse, I mean, if No Way Home did not exist, Spider-Verse would definitely be number one though.
Definitely. I didn't get a chance to see this one in cinema, sadly. So I didn't get to see it until 2019. So at the end of 2018, my favourite film was actually Bohemian Rhapsody because I love Queen and Rami Malek's performance is phenomenal. But when I saw Into Spider-Verse, it was on a whole new level.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I thought, no, I have to put this at number one now.
Yeah. And people were skeptical because I remember there were certain people in my family when they went to see it, they were kind of skeptical, like, "Oh man, another Spider-Man movie? How many of these we've had?" Me before, like, that was amazing. So
Exactly. I went in thinking this was going to be all brand new and fresh and different, and that's what I got, and it was.
yeah,
I'm glad I really enjoyed it.
yeah. I think people were worried that this was going to be yet another Spider-Man origin story, and I don't mean because Miles, I mean because it is an origin story. It's an origin story for Miles, but we were worried how many times do we have to see Ben get shot, right? They were worried it was going to be another one of those, but it wasn't, and it was so much better.
That's one of my favorite moments of the movie when it turns out all the Spider-Mans do have like similar like paths to Peter's.
Yeah, but you realize being Spider-Man, it's cool, but that's a terrible thing because you have to lose somebody.
Exactly.
I can't think of a single Spider-Man where their life is like, oh, I haven't lost anybody. And it's good for character development, but it's a terrible burden to bear. I'm excited to see Oscar Isaac as Spider-Man 2099 because with Moon Knight, he was fantastic in that. So
Definitely.
yeah.
Definitely. I wonder who I'll end up nominating for best voice acting.
And because we'll see because there's also several. I mean, June alone has at least 3 or 4 animated films coming out here because we have Spider-Verse, we have Elemental, we have Teenage Kraken from DreamWorks, which looks like it's going to be poking fun at Little Mermaid, which is hilarious because that movie just came out a couple weeks ago. And then we have on Netflix, we have Nimona, which looks sort of like Dungeons and Dragons a little bit, but sort of the spoof of that. So that's 4 animated films in June. And then in July, we have Ladybug on Netflix. I don't think of anything else coming out in July though. It's animated, but yeah, there's a lot of animated stuff coming out. And then November, of course, we have Wish.
Yes.
As well, yeah. I think there might be 1 or 2 coming out in December, but I don't remember off the top of my head what they were. So.
Yeah. Yes. The only thing
we got another Chicken Run coming out soon too.
Oh shoot! Yes, that's the one. That's the one. I reckon that'll be my favorite animated film of the year.
Well, we'll see because sometimes sequels end up disappointing. Like Disenchanted was not good, so.
I don't know, but Top Gun Maverick was great.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes with animated sequels, it can be hit or miss. So, like Shrek 2, Toy Story 2, those are fantastic. Then you have animated sequels, right? Like Happy Feet 2, where it was like, oh, really? That's what you did with that? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the weakest out the sequels is Cars 2 in terms
or Incredibles 2, especially because Incredibles 2 is
I don't mind Incredibles 2 as much because of how it follows on.
Yeah, my problem with it was it wasn't really an Incredibles movie. It was an Elastigirl movie. I wanted them to continue on with the superhero family dynamic, but we basically just got an Elastigirl spinoff movie. If it were called Elastigirl, fine. If it were a spinoff movie, okay, I'd be less harsh. But because you're promising the continuation of the idea of the family now has powers and it's going to be the family dynamic, and we didn't get that, I was a little bit disappointed. So
yeah, I kind of get what you mean.
Yeah. It'd be like you go into an Avengers movie and it focuses on just one character, and it's not Avengers, it's that character.
Yeah.
You feel a little ripped off.
Oh no, I did like Mr. Incredible subplot, like looking after the kids. I thought that was hilarious.
Well, that's basically the one Jack short they did on when the first one came out. It's basically a longer version of that. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
There's not really much you can do. That we saw everything he can do, so it's kind of redundant. It's not like it's a surprise for us at this point.
Yeah. My main issue with The Incredibles 2 was the villain.
Yeah, I liked the villain. Syndrome was a better villain, but
yeah, Syndrome was a better villain.
Yeah, but he was still a good villain, especially because Saul Goodman plays one of the characters as well.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, he was good. He was good in that film. Yeah. But yeah, back on to Spiderverse. Yeah, I think this is a good movie, and I'm quite happy that I've given it these awards, and I'm quite happy to talk to you about this movie, and it's just a fun, great watch.
Yeah.
I also think this is more of an accessible Spider-Man film because it's animated. I don't know why. I always see animated films more accessible than live action.
Yeah, and this one is like it. There is that stigma that I'm tired of hearing is that animation is less of a medium than film, and that animation is because I'm like, no, it's not. I think this is one of those movies that proves that.
No, I agree with Guillermo del Toro when he said that animation wasn't just for kids.
Exactly.
Yeah, What would you rate this?
It's like if you want to, if animation is just for kids, well, go watch anything that Ghibli has made and tell me that it's so.
Exactly.
Princess Mononoke. I mean, the first 10 minutes of that movie alone are super violent. So
Yeah, exactly.
not a kids movie. Grave with the Fireflies.
I
My
would
word.
not show a child Akira.
Grave with the Fireflies. My word.
Beautiful movie, but I would not show that to a child.
Exactly. Like the animation is just for kids. Well, show them nothing. Tell me this is just for kids. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. So yeah, this is like a perfect 10 out of 10 movie for me. Honestly.
Yeah, same.
Which I rarely get.
10 out of 10.
Yeah.
10 out of 10, 5.5, 8. How many pluses you can give it?
Yeah.
Yes, definitely. Definitely. Well, right. Thank you, Josh, for joining us on the show. And thank you all for listening to this episode. If you want to join the Fleming Film Awards Facebook group, just find us on Facebook. Me and Josh are both members of the group. And you can also find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd. You can also check out my other YouTube videos. And you can also check out the other episodes on Spotify once they come out. Josh, do you want to say your socials?
Yep, I will leave the link in the description. I'm going to probably put this video on my channel too. But if you're watching on Robbie's channel, I'll put the link to his channel description. I'll put link. It's just my name, Josh Hickey's movie reviews. You'll see it. I recently uploaded my review of Little Mermaid and my ranking of the Disney live action remakes. And I mean, by the time you hear this, the stuff will probably be out. But I'm also going to be doing a ranking of all of Rob Marshall's Disney musicals because he also did Into the Woods and Mary Poppins Returns. A ranking of all the Little Mermaid movies because we have all those direct-to-video sequels that Disney liked to put out like 20 years ago. And then next month we got Spiderverse coming out, so it's going to be a lot of Spiderverse videos, right? All the Spider-Man movies being ranked, and then whereas like I said, Elemental, so you're going to be getting Pixar ranking. We got Indiana Jones coming out. There's a lot of stuff coming. So
yes, and also I'm going to be in a short film coming out in June called Keep Yourself Alive. So make sure you check out that.
Yeah.
Awesome. So Josh, it's an absolute pleasure to have you today. Thank you for coming on. And thank you all for listening, or if you're watching this on YouTube or if you're watching this on Josh's channel, join it there. Come next time when I'll be talking about Ratatouille with Cody House.
Yeah, it'll be fun. I'll be fun to listen to that. Like I said, I just watched that video or just watched that movie a couple days ago, so it'll be fun to listen to your thoughts on that. So.
Lovely, excellent. I rewatched the start of the year, so I plan to do a rewatch before I talk to Cody about it.
Yeah, I watched it yesterday. It's still amazing as it was all those years ago. It is amazing.
Definitely, right. See you soon, Josh.
See you.